What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, and how good they've been doing this year. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Is it fair to underestimate the Packers this season?
I think it is fair to underestimate them because I think there are things that they have to prove. Now, let me say this. It is not only unfair, but incredibly sacrilegious and blasphemous to doubt the great Aaron Rodgers. It's a fact. I need to remind everybody who they talk about here. He's a bad man.
So Aaron Rodgers is a beast. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback that has a ring, and you never count him out. But I can understand how people can't overlook the Green Bay Packers because look, for the past 2 years, they haven't been able to make the playoffs. Granted, they made the playoffs this year. That's why I'm happy they're back into the form, or Aaron Rodgers is back into his form and he's back in the playoffs so he can be able to make some moves. But I can definitely understand how people would overlook the Green Bay Packers. So let's continue.
This dude, Aaron Rodgers, I don't give a damn about Matt LaFleur and the kind of impact or lack thereof he has had on a 17th ranked passing attack that is Aaron Rodgers. Just be clear. You want to talk about Green Bay? That's fine. That's all legit. Just don't get on my man Aaron Rodgers, Mr. 24 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions on the season. Let me tell y'all something. It's a little concerning. A guy like Aaron Jones who can ball, doesn't get the ball nearly enough, only had about 51 yards rushing yesterday. We get all of that. It's a bit concerning when you look at Devontae Adams, Valdez-Scantling, and others, and the kind of impact. Certainly with this defense, we look at this Green Bay Packers defense, look, they're ranked 9th. They're top 10 defense, okay? But they're ranked 22 against the pass and 24 against the rush. You can run on them and you can pass on them. They don't break often.
So what you're saying is you can do everything against them.
So what I'm saying to you is this. The bottom line is they don't break often, but they bend a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, so they bend a lot during the regular season, but they might get broke off in the playoffs, and that's going to be a problem. Like I said, once you go against the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, and that defense, once you go against New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees, once you go against the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson, you might get broke off. But still, at the same time, I'm not counting out Aaron Rodgers, but if your defense is bending during the regular season, they might break during the playoffs. So let's continue.
And when you bend a lot and you've got New Orleans and San Francisco in this division, it can be problematic, and that's justification for doubting the Green Bay Packers. So as long as you distinguish between Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers.
No, I don't think you can distinguish. Look, through the years, Aaron Rodgers, first of all, yes, they're being slept on. He's right about the respect thing. Through the years, Aaron Rodgers has covered up for a lot of weaknesses on the Green Bay Packers, and they are a perennial Super Bowl threat. In the beginning of every season, they're among either the top tier or the very next tier in terms of odds to win the Super Bowl. And folks, it is always, because everyone's aware, Aaron Rodgers is on that team. Until Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback I've ever seen. Still, maybe Rodgers in his prime is, because he sustained it for years, the best quarterback.
Hold on. So I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time. Definitely for me, he's not. I don't know what Max is talking about. And then he talks about Patrick Mahomes. And, every other week we jump from so-and-so is the best quarterback of all time that we've ever seen. Now it's Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And arguably, you could say that Lamar Jackson is having the best single season of a quarterback ever. So I think people throw around a little bit too loosely, this quarterback is the best quarterback I've ever seen or the best quarterback ever or whatever. So I don't know. Let's continue.
Quarterback of all time. Not the greatest, not the most accomplished, but the best. The guy with the most influence over any one game. And he's been much more of a game manager this year. We really haven't seen much of the, impossibly great Aaron Rodgers. And maybe he'd have been better off in a situation where he could have been more of a game manager throughout his career. Game manager is not a dirty word. It's just perceived that way when it means because the dynamic stuff isn't in there. Because you
So it's a dirty word when you use it, Max.
Must be a game manager because that's what your talent dictates. No, Aaron Rodgers, if he has gotten that now, a team talented enough where he can game manage and the discipline to game manage, it's a problem because it's Aaron Rodgers' time right now. Don't forget, when Aaron Rodgers starts talking like this, like when he guaranteed they'd make the playoffs, they had to win 8 straight games. Remember that a couple years ago? When Aaron Rodgers starts talking like this, everybody is like, just watch what he's about to do. Rodgers has a team good enough that he could game manage this year. but that doesn't mean that's all he's capable of. And when push comes to shove, all these teams that see the Packers, they're going to have to see Aaron Rodgers. Good luck. I agree with him.
We are.
So definitely when you see Aaron Rodgers, you can't count him out. You always have to account for him and always have to respect his Hall of Fame talents. But at the same time, there's other teams that are balling too. Like I said, the 49ers, the Saints, and the Seahawks. And two of those teams have future Hall of Famers on them between Drew Brees and most likely Russell Wilson. Jimmy Garoppolo is still working on it. But like I said, all respect will be paid between all those teams right there. And it'll definitely be paid to Aaron Rodgers because no matter what's going on, he can hurt you. Even if his defense bends, he probably is. There's a good chance that Aaron Rodgers is going to hurt you in the playoffs and he won't break. So let's continue.
We're not underestimating the Packers in any way. I just think we are evaluating them in the correct manner. This team is a good team. They've won 11 games. Aaron Rodgers, I've been fighting this Aaron Rodgers thing all season because like Stephen A., who, by the way, I can tell you've been eating right, you've been on your cardio because you held that bad man for a very long time. Like Stephen A., I feel the same way about him. He's the best quarterback I've ever played, but he is no longer that guy. I think the confusion came. We thought that Matt LaFleur would come and find a new innovative offense and create these opportunities to give Aaron Rodgers open people to throw the ball to that would allow him to not have to pull rabbits out of a hat, allow him to not have to be this magician that we've seen him be throughout the years. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers has that anymore. Even with Devontae Adams back after the foot injury, we haven't seen the same thing from Aaron Rodgers. We haven't seen him take over games. We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers find a way that when the game is close or when they have an opportunity to put a team away the way they did yesterday, see some of that Hall of Fame stuff that made us love him so much. And this defense, who very early on in the season, after the Chicago Bears game, after the Denver Broncos games, the first two games of the season that Aaron Rodgers was raving about, now we have a defense. They aren't the same. They give up chunk plays in every game. And Stephen A. is saying that they bent, but they don't necessarily break. They broke when they went to Los Angeles. They broke when they went to San Francisco. And so if you have these things happening in what necessarily doesn't seem as top-heavy of an NFC as we've seen it some of the times, but it's going to be very tough to win in the playoffs, I don't know about this team. And so when Aaron Rodgers says that he doesn't believe that they have the respect of the people around them or the people or their peers that they're going to play against, the people covering the game, it's because he feels it. He
Let me ask you
knows that
something,
this
Ryan.
team.
So I understand what he's talking about. I understand what Ryan's talking about and that people aren't necessarily giving the full respect to Aaron Rodgers, which I do understand, like I said. But he doesn't necessarily have all the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has. He doesn't necessarily have the weapons that Drew Brees has. He doesn't have, like I said, the defense that Jimmy Garoppolo has. So there's a lot of different factors that you can factor into why Aaron Rodgers may not be doing what he's doing. But like I said, he's in the playoffs. His foot's in the door, and I would not count out in Aaron Rodgers. I would not overlook him at all. Even going against the 49ers again, New Orleans, or Seattle Seahawks, I think all those guys are pretty much, for the most part, evenly touted, and anybody can beat the crap out of anybody on any given Sunday. So let's continue.
Be a little fool's gold.
Let me ask you something, Ryan. You're on a superior team to Aaron Rodgers, okay? This year, you're playing this year's Packers. You want to see them, or is that a team you want to avoid? Like, there, you have, you can play the Vikings, you can play the Packers. You start looking at the schedule, we might get this one or that one, or even a team like San Francisco, just better top to bottom than the Packers.
Right.
You want to see the Packers? I wouldn't.
No, listen,
I would not want to play them.
You don't want to see Aaron Rodgers because here's the thing. When somebody has been as great as Aaron Rodgers has throughout his career, that is very difficult for you to forget. It's very difficult for you to say on one day he can't be as good as that anymore. Here's what I will say about the Green Bay Packers as a team. If the Green Bay Packers play as good as they possibly can and the Dallas Cowboys play as good as they possibly can, I'd rather play Green Bay than play the other team, than play the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't believe that at their top, at their very best, they're as good as some of these other teams in the NFC. And I believe a lot of that has to do with Aaron Rodgers, a guy who we
Cowboys
watched
will
at
figure out
home
a way to
yesterday
lose.
By the way,
go 16
Only
of
thing
33.
that I would say,
And especially if you have the Cowboys versus the Green Bay Packers, the Cowboys are stacked with talent. The only thing is they don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback like what the Green Bay Packers have in Aaron Rodgers. So it's it's kind of the lesser of two evils of what you really want to play with. Do you want to go with the Hall of Fame quarterback and rely on him to take over the game, or do you want to rely on a stacked team with players distributed throughout a team and try to win that way? So I don't know. It's kind of lesser of two evils. So let's continue.
Only thing that I would say to all of y'all is this. What team do you know has ever looked their very best at Lambeau Field? And see,
The
Green Bay Packers, no, I'm talking about the Green Bay Packers, the visitors. The Green Bay Packers are 11-3. Mm-hmm. They have an opportunity to capture the number one seed and make sure that the road through the NFC to the Super Bowl comes through Lambeau Field. That's where I think it gets very, very dangerous for everybody else. If it wasn't for that,